Welcome back to Social Sciences class, all my dear young minds. Today, we are going to come across the remaining part of West Asian conflict or West Asian crisis. Yesterday, we came up to that extent where Egypt started, Nasser, the ruler of Egypt, started encouraging Fidais, who are none other than suicidal squads who take up massive killings, got it, by killing themselves, got it. So, yesterday we came up to their formation of Fidai groups. And the Fidai groups are organized because Mr. Nasser identified the threat that is going to come because of United States of America, oil-greedy United States of America. It wanted to establish its control upon all this Arabian region. So that's why he disliked United States of America, because even his own country, Egypt, and the neighboring country Libya is also having good results of oil, and America was having its look towards these countries also to get control. So that's why he wanted to bring unity among all the oil producing and exporting countries which are under Arab League. So he tried to convince these Arabian countries like Iraq did not accept, and of course later in Iraq itself Saddam Hussein came to power, who opposed Mr. Qasim, the ruler, who did not accept to make Iraq join in what we can call Arab League. So these all series of things happened. Even in Iran there is a political change. By 1979, a revolution got successful, and Ayatollah Khomeini became the head of the state, one of the key person in anchoring the revolution. So along with other clerics against Reza Shah, the ruler, puppet in the hands of United States of America, Reza Shah, against him, under leadership of Ayatollah Khomeini, the revolution occurred in Iran. Right. These are some aspects which we came across. And now we see how the attacks and counter-attacks went between this Egypt, Israel, Arabs, and so on. See, in 1956, the ruler of Egypt, Mr. Nasser, nationalized Suez Canal. What is nationalization of Suez Canal? You see the water body that gets connected Africa and Asia, largest continent in the world and second largest continent in the world is Suez Canal. You can see this is Suez Canal now. This is called Suez Canal. And the sea that divides India, Africa and Asia is Red Sea. Here you can see Red Sea will be dividing Africa and Asia. Of course, here Mediterranean Sea will be which will be dividing three continents. Mediterranean Sea. That's why it is in the middle of Europe. It divides Europe, Africa, and also Asia. Got it from Europe. So in this way, physical location is existing. This Suez Canal, there is a history there to Suez Canal. From 1798 onwards, after Battle of Nine, it went under control of England. Why? There was a Nelson, naval commander, who defeated Napoleon Bonaparte of France, who tried to occupy this Suez Canal. What is the importance of historical importance or importance of Suez Canal? Suez Canal is one of the important waterway which will be reducing the transportation fare or expenses between three continents. So traders who are interested to carry their business, they opt the path to travel from Suez Canal, from Mediterranean Sea to Suez Canal to Red Sea, and then after India, Arabia, is all eastern part of the world. So this Suez Canal gives an easy, it will reduce the distance. If Suez Canal is not not permitted. Some rules don't permit to ships to go. They have to go all the way from Europe or from Africa. They have to go all the way like this. Or from Asia, they have to travel all the way like this. So that's why who had control upon this Suez Canal? Who had control upon that Suez Canal? They will get certain royalty from the ships or any cargo ships which will be moving through that. Passenger ships or cargo ships which will be cargo means which will be carrying goods. Those ships which will carry cargo or goods are also called as vessel. That ships are also called as vessel. VESSEL. Vessel means not a tumbler here. Ships which carry the cargo goods. So, that vessels can travel very easily so that their time will be reduced. But the things they are carrying will not get spoiled if they reach the near market their destiny within a short span of time. Keeping on all these, the merchants used to pay attention to move from to carry their cargo from through Suez Canal only which is the distance. When they will be moving through Suez Canal, under whose control Suez Canal is there, to them they have to pay royalty. Means there is a huge freight. That means what we can call movement of ships from this one part of continent, Europe, Africa, and Asia through this Suez Canal. Got it? So whatever the ship passes, they have to pay money. This money earlier used to go to European countries like Britain and French Commission was there. The Suez Canal was under control of Britain and France for after in the 20th century. Got it? So these particular countries are getting benefit from Suez Canal, which are far away from Suez Canal. Where France is, somewhere here in Europe. Europe here, France is there, here England is there. These fellows don't have any connection with this, but they are getting the royalty. Why? Because once upon a time in history, they established their control upon Suez Canal in 1798. So there were wars, several wars between England and France also at the time. So now, Nasser, after seeing these countries giving less support to Israelis or Jews, felt that why we should leave this Suez Canal to this England and France. Whatever the money is there, that we get that money and we can improve our ease. Got it? So he announced that nationalization of Suez Canal means hereafter Suez Canal will become property of people of Egypt. Whoever want to travel through this Suez Canal, they have to pay money to only government of Egypt, and that money will be spent for the well-being of the people of Egypt. If at all possible, it will be extending support to the fellow Arabian countries who are in need of money or some developmental activities. Was the argument of Mr. Nasser, Abdul Ghaim Nasser. And then this gentleman announced the nationalization of this Suez Canal in 1956. This irked or irritated Britain and France because they are losing the money which they are getting in the form of royalty from the ships which travel through the Suez Canal. So they did not, because they can't, in the modern world, they can't claim their stake on this Suez Canal waters. So now they started encouraging Jews and Israel. What is the stake? It is linked between Africa and Asia. How a country of Africa will solely take control of Suez Canal. Even you should also get a share in it. But that fellow is not ready to give any share to you. So what you will be doing? So why that fellow will have total control upon that money which one gets from Suez Canal? You attack that Egypt and make it shut down and take all the Suez Canal into your control so that you will get monetary benefit. They abetted, they encouraged. Whom? Israel. We are there at the back, don't worry. Military, any equipment, any bombs or missiles, whatever you require, explosives, we are ready to supply. Guns, you go and attack. And this, with that encouragement and abetment, Israel launched a campaign against Egypt, attacking Egypt. There was a war, tense full war, and USA and USSR appealed both the parties to stop the war. It was of no use. Finally, UNO involved the matter, and it brought an understanding between these two countries, and it was successful in stopping the war. Got it? This is the first case where Israel and Egypt got encountered each other. Then after only Nasser started encouraging Fidais who want to fight against these Jews. Got it? Create a havoc in Israel. And Israel in 1967. Before 1967, one certain things happened. In a country called Jordan, below Syria, below Turkey, Syria. This is Turkey, Syria, and here will be Iran, and so on, right? Iraq, Iran, so like that. Below Syria, there is a country called Jordan. What is Amman, Jordan? What is Yemen, Oman? Like this, United Arab Emirates, these are the Qatar, Kuwait, small countries there. Like our districts, they will be. What is it? Not much population or big size. That's why this region is also called as Minor Asia. Middle East, Minor Asia, very particularly this western part of Asia. That is Syria, Jordan, these are small countries. We see even across, you can't find even this is Israel in a big way. Israel is nothing but once upon a time Palestine. Only now Arabs have under their control certain region called West Bank and Gaza Strip. West Bank means here in Egypt, in Israel, in Egypt. This is West Bank, this is Golan Heights, where Jerusalem is there. And Gaza Strip, the western strip is called Gaza Strip. Got it? Western strip in Israel is called Gaza Strip. And to the north of Golan Heights is West Bank. It is West Bank. And this is where Jerusalem is existing, that is Golan Heights. There only yesterday I said you that Temple Mount is there, holy, which is holy for three religions, right? So, and recently, actually, Israel capital, when Israel got independence, its capital was Tel Aviv. Recently, it was declaring from several years that Jerusalem is our capital, but which is not accepted by Arabs. Recently, even United States of America, Trump said that we will be recognizing Jerusalem as capital of Israel. This statement of Trump brought a lot of controversy in the world. Many countries who are having some sympathy towards Arabs, they rose their voice against Mr. Trump, the President of the United States of America. Right? So, here see now, in 1964 something happened. In Jordan, a country called Jordan, they took over the PLO under the leadership of Yasser Arafat. PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization. Why it is called Palestine Liberation Organization? Why? Because Jews unjustly took away the regions belonging to Arabs, and getting back that regions is the prime motive of PLO. In 1964, under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, one of the popular leaders in the world, Yasser Arafat. So Yasser Arafat started a legitimate demand of, legitimate means according to him, getting back the places belonging to Palestine from Israelis or Jews. And the Arabs did not treat Israel as a legal state. Unlawfully, by force, the Western powers, they got declared this particular region as Israel. Was the feeling of them. They strongly believed even Israel is a part of Palestine only. And it will be not Israel, it will be Palestine only. That was the belief of them. And they want to make it same. Whatever the old Palestine is there before Israel got formed, they were planning of getting the same Palestine. That's why PLO took its birth. The Palestine Liberation Organization took birth in 1964 at Jordan, a country which is adjacent to the east of now present day Israel or established Palestine. There in that Jordan, PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization took birth, and the founder of it was Yasser Arafat, through his speeches, started getting good support of the many of the youth in that particular Arabian region and even in Palestine. Certain part is left under Palestine still. And even though he said from Jordan, he started his activity, PLO activity. Because here the attacks are there are very strongly upon the Arabs. So that's why he moved there, and there from there he carried the agitation for the freedom of Palestine from Jews or Israel, right? So that gentleman, once he started organization, he started working, gathering the people along with him, youngsters along with him with his speeches and so on. In 1967, he pressurized Arab countries to go for a war against Israel and to get free that regions which are declared as Israel, and to make Jews to run out of that territory. But Arab countries were not ready to do that. But because of some international relationship with the United States of America or USSR, they were not ready. And by seeing this PLO encouraging this Arab countries and gathering support of all the Muslims in the Arab region, Israel thought this is all done. This Yasser Arafat is nothing but a creation or machination of Egypt. Egypt, on one hand, encouraging suicidal plots like Fidais, and on the other hand, it is encouraging a peaceful movement in the form of Yasser Arafat and PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization. And now, Israel thought, at this juncture, if we start defending ourselves, saying that we are right and so on, of no use. Offense is the only way we can answer them suitably. And in 1967, Israel launched a campaign against Egypt once again. Again, the threat to the world peace. And also it launched a campaign on Palestine and occupied very important place where Arabs are more in number. Places like, just now I said West Bank, Golan Heights, and Gaza Strip to the west. What are the three places that they got occupied? West Bank, Jews got and the Arabs got defeated and the Jews got this from Palestine. Now almost all Palestine turned into Israel. Only certain area called what we can call West Bank and there Jerusalem is there, that Golan Heights. Only there we can see some Muslims or Arabs existing in good number and remaining. You can see the picture given in the textbook now. How it was in 1948 and by recent times 2013 how it turned. Green it was earlier, means occupied by most of the region was with the Arabs. But now we see here and there what we can sparsely here and there green spots in that picture given in the textbook. In page number, if I'm just let me see, page number 284. 284, you see page number. There at the top you are given a map of Israel was given in 1942 till the date how it is. Right. Now totally we can say this whole Palestine entirely became into Israel. Only this West Bank and Gaza, certain places of Gaza Strip in the west, and below West Bank there is Golan Heights. What are the places occupied by it? West Bank, Golan Heights. In Golan Heights only, Jerusalem, the holy city for Muslims, Christians and Jews is there. Golan Heights, here only Jerusalem is there, which is holy for both three faiths. Yeah, and Gaza Strip. So Gaza Strip is in the western part, a small strip line like this. This is called another system, right? So these three places were occupied, and Israel was very strong that in any point of time we are not going to give this back to Arabs, and all Arabs here will be under control of the Israeli government only. Tel Aviv is the capital of Israel. Soon we will make Jerusalem as also our capital, was the saying of Israelis or Jews. Put it up. So what happened when this all are happening? Even Mr. Yasser Arafat, who was following peace path, got disturbed, and he encouraged certain youngsters to get formed into a terrorist organization. Terrorist wing was organized by him in PLO, and that PLO started terrorist attacks against Israel troops, Israel civilians, and Israel public places, government buildings. It started targeting and carrying on out and out violence. Our violence got outrage, and there were counterattacks from Jews on these people. That's why it turned into a tinderbox. From that day onwards, till the date also, it is a tinderbox, that region. That's why it's called West Asian crisis, still continuing on. It did not stop. But the impact was seen little in the modern day world, right? So now we have to understand. 1967 onwards, Yasser Arafat organized one terrorist group on behalf of PLO. It started carrying on violent activities. Very popular among them is hijacking the aeroplanes of Israel and also killing its sportsmen in 1972 Olympics. A football team going in a flight to Munich, Germany to take part in Olympics, 70 to 1972 Olympics, that got blasted in the air. Hijackers blasted it, killed all the football team of Israel. At the same time at Munich, most of the Israeli players were taken into hostage. Already I said what is the word hostage means. Hostage, already I said it. Explain. Even though became the same fact, even though became hostage in the hands of the two superpowers or two groups in the Security Council. So taking into control. So they took control and they killed many of the sports persons belonging to Israel. And when they do this, Israel will be quiet. It started counter-attacking, and huge violence went on for a long time. But by 1990s, Yasser Arafat understood with the violence we can't get anything. With only by peace we can get something. He very crystal clearly said, yes, we are going to honor the state of Israel. We are going to treat it as a legitimate state, provided he carried peace agreement, talks with Israel, and he said very clearly, provided whatever the regions are there, which you are calling as buffer zone, that regions should be handed over to Palestinians. Palestinians in that particular region or Arabs in that particular region should get political right to elect their representatives. If you are going to give these promises, yes, we are going to take back all the military activity or radical activity, terrorist activity and so on, and even your Jews will be peaceful and we will also be living in peace. Israel accepted. Okay, boss, if you resort to peace, and we are also interested in peace, and we will be keeping our promises. What you are asking, we will try to keep our promise. It promised, it came to an understanding with Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat, leader of Arabs, got this success to certain extent. Yeah, to certain extent, it was believed that Israel is going to keep up its promise. What are the areas under buffer zone? And what is buffer zone? You have to understand, buffer zone, again we will come across in next to India and China relationship another time. So buffer zone is a place which will be maintained under control of a country, which can be used as a battlefield or for the sake of political activity, for the sake of economic activity or for the sake of military activity, it will be linking two or three regions. Got it? So that region which will be linking one or two places that will be used to make some isolated prisons where war prisoners or someone will be kept, where no one will be there other than that prisons. Or it can be used to protect their industrial infrastructure. Security forces can be stationed over there. So in this way, and military can be stationed, and any point of time enemies come to attack. It is a place which acts as a link between one place and other. That place is called buffer zone. So it declared that places which it got won from Arabs or Palestinians, belonging to Palestinians, called West Bank, Gaza Strip, and also Golan Heights were declared as buffer zone by this particular country, and it promised to turn back that places to Palestinians or Arabs. But according to the agreement made between Yasser Arafat, who resorted to peace, but this was not kept. These promises are violated very successfully without any failure by Israel. It violated. It did not neither gave the places back to Arabs, nor it gave any political right to Arabs, that is to participate in election and contest and vote. Nothing is given like that. And of course, in course of time, what happened? That man, Mr. Yasser Arafat, died because of some vicious fever, and there is a suspicion also at the back of the death of Yasser Arafat, and it is one of the great funeral attended by huge masses in the world. But if a personality dies, masses will be attending the funeral, but the final rituals before the body is sent out of this world. So one of the massive rally was conducted, which world has witnessed after death of. Very rare we see such rallies. Even in certain political leaders in India also got this same solidarity from or sympathy from the people, like Indira Gandhi, N.T. Ramarao, Nehru, Mahatma, of course, the great Mahatma Gandhi, and other popular leaders in India. They also got a massive, what we can call send-off from the people. So here he is also one man who got brought sympathy by resorting to the peace in the Arab world. So this is what, one minute, Kali. This is what related to the West Asian conflict. Hope you understood well, and please read the textbook well after watching the video. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll be coming with peace movements and India's relations with China. Probably we'll be concluding this chapter by Friday, and then after there will be a test on coming Monday. Thank you all.